That was hilarious. And then your mom ended up, the girl was calling and calling, and your mom ended up saying, baby, Levi is married. He don't even live here no more. Oh, I can laugh about it now. So, what? No, it was not funny. It was not. It was not funny. Hello and welcome back to Kinchens Equally Yoked, our weekly podcast series where Levi and I have a conversation in front of the camera. And yeah. This is episode 2. Last week we kind of shared our story a little bit. We got up to about 10 years into our nearly 27-year marriage. We'll go a little further and a little deeper today.
Hey, how did you know we got up to 10? We talked up to 10 years. I'm sorry.
I have a thing called a memory.
Oh, okay, my bad.
I remember what happened last week.
Hey.
Also, I edited the video.
Yeah, I think that's it.
I watched the video when it premiered and when it. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So.
Okay. Amen.
Yeah.
Hey, I feel you. I hear what you're saying.
Mm-hmm. I'm invested.
Mm-hmm.
It was important to know what
you
talked about.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, so we're having these conversations because, like we said in episode 1, I think we said it, or maybe it may have been, we have so many conversations off camera until I may not remember everything. But I know that we both have been individually had experience where we talk to people, and because of our experiences, because of our history together, because of what we've learned and what we've been through, people have been able to, I don't know, be helped in some way. And so we thought that if we could help even one person, one couple, one marriage be better, avoid some things, prepare for some things, that it would be worth it to come on and just chat with one another. How you doing this morning?
I'm feeling good.
You gotta have to speak up. We have some microphones that we're still trying to figure out how to work.
Oh, you want me to use my preacher voice?
Yeah, use your preacher voice.
Okay.
Because when I was editing the last video,
I wasn't talking loud enough.
Yeah, and so when I tried to put
my apologies. My apologies.
When I put the closed caption on there where the words come on,
yeah.
So the words would come up when I'm talking, and then when you would say something, it was so faint, it wouldn't even pick up. It wouldn't even.
Okay. All right. I got my assignment now.
You got your assignment.
I'm ready.
Okay. So what are we talking about this morning?
I think we said misguided expectations when you first get married.
Oh, what people think marriage is versus what marriage really is.
Yeah.
Okay. What?
I think it starts with you're not, at least let me say, I wasn't. I was not prepared. Thought it was, but I was not prepared. I was not prepared. Well, how you know you wasn't prepared? Because the cake just didn't taste right.
What?
If you're baking a cake and you prepared that cake right, it should taste good.
Okay, so your experiences.
The experiences I was having was telling me that I was not prepared.
Something is not right. Okay.
Do people prepare for marriage?
All right. Well, you were 19 when we met.
Okay.
Had you ever paid a bill?
Oh.
Had you ever established a residency, signed a lease, bought a house,
Nope.
bought a mortgage? Had you ever called a light company and established light service?
Nope.
Any utilities?
Mm-mm.
Had a phone? Well, that was so long ago. We didn't have cell phones. Well, they were
Cell
like this big and only in the car.
Yeah, I'm about to say, I remember cell phones being in a car.
Yeah.
When I was 19.
And did you have any responsibility outside of yourself? Did you make your own meals? Did you cook?
No, then my parents was, because I lived in my parents' house still. My mom was still cooking. I just showed up.
You just showed up. And I think,
mm-hmm.
Okay, so you were 19 and never had any adult responsibilities up until that point. Like, I think you were 1 year out of high school. So the closest responsibility you had was a job. You went to work.
Went to work.
Okay. I was 22.
You was a professor compared to me. You was up there. I think that's what attracted me. I'm like, man, she way up there. I gotta get up there with she.
Like I said last week, I was high and lifted up. Let me stop. God, you're high and lifted up. I was 22. I had children. I had owned a home. So I had called and got utilities.
You had babies. Okay. Right.
I had a car. I had a job.
I had a car too.
I was in college.
Wasn't in college.
I had gotten lights and cable and water.
Well, I had lights.
No, you had called the light company and say, I need lights service at 1234 Main Street.
Okay.
Your parents had lights. And see, that was the problem.
Well,
so what did you think? Like you didn't think beyond, what did you think after we said, like, we're going to get married and then this is going to happen? Like, what is this for you?
I think that's that misguided expectation. I think I was just wanting to be my own person. In that era, people telling me, I wouldn't say people, but my parents telling me, how I should live my life, which they had wisdom. So
I heard me at those mics.
But I think I was running. Running from others telling me how to live my life. Like I was running toward. I want to make my own decisions.
And in that, mm-hmm. in this, what Apostle here would call erroneous thinking, mm-hmm. in that was, instead of another human, mom, dad, instead of parental figures governing how you live your life. Now, if you don't go to work, you're not going to eat. If you don't go to work and earn a certain amount of money, you're not going to have a certain lifestyle that you think you're going to have. If you don't steward that money well when it comes into the house.
And see, I think that's what I did not.
You thought it was just going.
That wasn't in my equation. So when I was doing my audition, mm-hmm. that wasn't in the equation.
You told me last night what you thought. You said you looked at me, and I had a house, I had children, I was already living this adult life and paying the bills. So what did you think?
You was already being a boss. So I'm thinking, man, when I bring my boss here level 2 to her boss level 1, that should give us a boss level 3, 4. You know what I'm saying?
So practically, you said, if I'm over there doing life with the resources I have, then you coming on board.
See, I had a brand new truck, mm-hmm. all right, which was not wise. Hold on, let me say, I had a brand new truck, which was not wise. I had a brand new truck, and at that age, with insurance and the lease payment, the car note, whatever you want to call it there, I'm like, oh yeah, I get married. I'm making this, she making that. We're gonna do this.
Okay, so if I was over here already taking care of the financial responsibilities of a household, and you come in, you're gonna bring your finances, so mm-hmm. It should just be done at that level. Yep. You should be. If I'm already doing it, you're just adding more money to the pot.
Yeah, thinking that marrying you would somehow increase.
Because you didn't think I was going to take care of you. That wasn't your fault. You just thought that
I wouldn't raise you to take care of me.
Yeah,
it wasn't in my DNA.
I'm just putting it out there so that's not what it sounds like. That she over there, she got a house and all this. I'm just gonna move it. No, you thought if she's taking care of herself, she's not going to be a burden on me. And if I have money, I'm not going to be a burden on her. That we can do more together. Is what you're saying. Okay.
That there would be a financial
merging of the assets and we will. Okay.
Yeah.
And then the finances is just like one part of it, but I can see where you would think that. And then we come together. I still have my job. You still have your job, mm-hmm. but somehow things aren't working financially. They aren't working. The lifestyle that you thought, because in hindsight, I look at it and I think that for some reason you thought you would, you would move out of your parents' house and live at the same level and live the same lifestyle
that I was accustomed
that you were accustomed to. Now, I did have my own house, I had a car, I had a job, but I wasn't at the level of life of I hadn't accumulated what your parents had.
Right.
So um, that was one thing. I mean, the house was decent. Well, it was an apartment, and it had rooms, it had furniture, um, it was comfortable. You know, it had the basic amenities of like a television and
Yeah.
laundry. I can't remember if laundry was in
Yeah.
it. We had a washer and dryer inside the apartment.
Yeah.
Okay, so it seemed like that should have been enough, but when you have to pay those bills,
When you don't manage your funds appropriately, so it doesn't matter what you're making. If you're not managing those funds properly, there's going to be lack somewhere. There's going to be not enough somewhere because you're not managing properly. Not
Mhm.
because you. It could. It's not because it could be you don't have enough, but are you stewarding your finances well?
that's one big part of it.
I think that was my big part of it.
That you didn't steward your
I
finances
didn't
well.
steward. No.
I think it goes deeper than that because number one, you had never managed money. I don't
Hold
know
on.
if
If it goes deeper than that, I just cut myself by saying that. Now you want to open the room up and say, "Look, that ain't the problem on the surface. The problem is down there." Okay, go ahead.
Well, I'm sorry for your wounds. Um, but you came from one way of managing money and or had never managed it at all. I don't know how much your parents involved you all with how the bills were paid, what came in, how much it took to rent a house, when do we pay bills, the whole financial management of a household.
One thing I remember is, all right, stop talking loud. You're running the light bill up, so I have to tone down my talk.
So that's a big no. You had no clue.
No clue. No clue at all. Not prepared. I'm gonna tell you, I was not prepared.
And then I had been running a household, and so my mom did give us her guidance on how to run a house. And I remember that she had taught us when you get paid
Mm-hmm.
to always write out all your bills.
Yeah.
And pay every bill that you can. Get grocery, fill your car with gas, like spend all the money on the necessities. Get it out of your hands, right? And she would say on the back end of that, because even though you won't have any money left, you may not have any money left. Well, you can live for another month. You have grocery, you have gas, you can live for another month or for another pay period or however long that money takes you. And your philosophy was to never be broke. And so, like, I remember if the light bill came in and it was $100, right? But we could pay $75 to keep the lights on,
I'm paying $75.
and I'm paying $100, and I could never get you to see. Well, just pay the whole bill. Like, well, no, you never know what's going to happen.
So where do these ideas, these philosophies, these concepts come from?
What do you mean? All
right. So you're not.
Well, you never.
You're not thinking of this on your own.
Yeah.
You've picked this up somewhere between when you became knowledgeable that you were here
Mm-hmm.
to the point of you actually saying I do. You picked this up somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So somewhere you picked it up. So you have this.
Well, your environment, like how you grew up, is that what you're saying?
It's
so
those that
I got
you
mine
are
from my
around.
mom.
You got yours from your mom. I got mine from my parents, and then other people.
But
I had a stint with my or I had an opportunity to spend summertime with my grandparents.
Okay, and another thing, so you didn't learn anything about finances from home and how to run a house. They just ran it, and you
They just ran it, and I benefited from it.
And my mom taught me a certain way, and so I brought that. And then another dynamic of it is, like what you just said, the environment you're around. I grew up in a predominantly single parent home. I mean, my mom had been married, and there was a father figure in the home, but for the most part, she was the decision maker.
Right.
And from what I can see, I don't know if they ever came together and discussed how to do things, but I know my mom was like, "This is what it is. This is how we're gonna do it." And like she was planner, and she looked for she took us on vacations, and she saved for that, and she taught me that you should save, that you should do these things.
And see, I just went on vacation.
But all I had, you didn't know what it took to go.
I just, hey,
You
we're
just
going to
show up.
California.
And show up.
Let's go.
Also, you saw two husband and wife teams that influence your how to play house, because basically that's what you do when you first get married. If you haven't had the counseling, the training, and the preparation, so if you just wake up one day and say, "I want," we're getting married, and you have no idea what that is, you're essentially playing house.
Yep.
So you saw two strong male roles, who were dominant in the house, who went out to work, who came home, who were catered to. Your grandmother catered to your grandfather. From what I could see, your mother catered to your dad.
That was the problem you had.
To the point, I didn't have a problem with it. I think I've always catered to you.
I'm messing with you. You've always been.
I was ready to see these. That right now, there's this thing out in the interwebs.
All right, let me know about it. I don't be on the web street, so.
The about this whole era of women who want to live what they're calling the soft life. Okay. And this is, I don't have a full understanding of it. This is my general understanding of it, is that they don't want the stress and strain and struggle that comes along with adulthood once they're in a relationship, or maybe even not in a relationship, but they want to just relax into life, be pampered, have a beautiful, clean surrounding, eat well. Like, they don't want all this hustle and bustle and just this having to go out and work hard and not saying they don't work at all, but like, it's just, especially those who are like, I'm gonna lean into letting my husband be the breadwinner and be the strong one. And when he comes home, I'm gonna cater to him. I'm gonna make a house. Like, they want to, I don't want to misunderstand it, the true intent of it, but that's kind of the gist of what I got. That you just want a life of ease and peace and serenity and just be soft. Like, no, let's not argue. Let's not worry. Let's not have to go after it and really hustle for stuff and struggle. And I think that that's nothing new, because just like you thought, hey, she's over there, I'm going to college, I'm working, I'm taking care of children, I'm taking care of a house, I'm doing all these things. Your mom used to say it like this: I was rowing the boat. I was over there rowing the boat myself, and I believe that just like you thought, I contributed to this fantasy gone wrong, because when I'm married now, here's the oars, I'm married, you're the man, you row this boat. And I wanted that soft life. I didn't mind continuing to go to work.
So a part of that preparation is understanding partnership, understanding the
roles, and not necessarily gender roles, just looking at who's better at what. Because I fully believe that
take an assessment of skills in order to accomplish a common goal. Okay.
And at 19 and 22, we did not have the wherewithal, the framework, or the example.
I'm trying to wonder if someone would have came and said that, what I would have grasped what they were trying to communicate to me. I don't think I would. I did when we at the table eating.
Oh, because your parents were pastors, and so you got wisdom when you wanted it and when you didn't. He was always in a meeting.
It's like we'll be eating and they feel the Spirit of God come up on them.
And just say what.
So I just think it was a it's like, I don't remember family meetings being set, but I can see why.
I mean, like, do you and I have marriage now? I don't remember us going into it. I think we were told after dating for a period, and after it being obvious that we
did go, once we got married, we did go to marriage class, but I think the counseling part is needed.
The premarital
to prepare you. I think that's part of the preparing. Get you in that mind frame, that mindset, to get you to see some of the thinking patterns that you have that is not healthy for you going into a marriage relationship.
What are some of the questions that a couple?
I wasn't ready. We got married the next day. I was back at my parents' house.
No. I knew you wasn't ready, because the next day you ran into an old girlfriend.
Stop.
Too much? You're not ready for that? Okay, when you're not healed in that area, let me know. Be like, ouch, I'm not healed there after 27 years. But, hey, I knew then. You ran into an ex-girlfriend, and she was like, I ain't seen you in a while. I'm on my way home, call me. I don't think that you were like trying to get with her.
Yeah, it was
just that
she was like, I hadn't seen you. So I'm like,
it did not register. I have a 24-hour-old marriage sitting in the car.
Maybe I should have led with that. See, that's why I'm saying.
I was married yesterday.
When you prepared, I would have led with that. I wasn't prepared.
That was hilarious. And then your mom ended up, the girl was calling, and your mom ended up saying, baby, Levi is married. He don't even live here no more. I can laugh about it now. So, what? No, it was not funny. It was not funny. What are some things that you would tell a couple who are getting engaged and thinking about, they've decided they want to be married? What are some not things you tell them, what are some things that they need to have, some rules, some guidelines on before they say I do? I know a big one for me would be how we're going to handle our finances. Um, who is better at it? Is it going to be your job and then we have a check and balance? Is it going
I
to be
don't.
your job and we have a
Yeah.
check? Or are we going to sit down and do it together?
I don't think that for me, I don't think a man understands a young man unless he's half prepared. I don't think he understands the two shall become one. Um, I was just recently studying, and the Holy Spirit began to minister to me on that the two shall become one. Not walking into the marriage relationship with a 50-50 mentality. No, I got 100, you got 100. That don't make it 200. No, I got 100, you have 100. I think that's part of that preparation. I think that's part of you finding someone that you see as a mentor or as a what am I looking for? A guide, a church counselor, someone that could, I believe, that could cause you to focus in on what is getting ready to take place, so you can prepare to minimize some of the expectations. Set those expectations from the jump. And I'm about to set those expectations. The rule book for marriage is the Bible, and I think it starts with understanding the two shall become one. And now we are this new creation, marriage partnership. And I didn't go in it like that. I didn't go in it like we're becoming one. I saw this 50-50 thing. And then especially as time goes on, if your goals are not aligned together, if you're not headed in the same direction, but one person is pulling this way, the other person pulling that way, there's no agreement there. You see what I'm saying? I think it just causes a bigger gap to be there. I think that would be the first thing. I think if I was sit down and say, okay, you want to do this, and I'm for it, I think you ought to. I think it's a good thing, because the Bible says a man that finds a wife finds favor with the Lord. But I believe just understanding what you're getting ready to what's getting ready to happen.
So if a couple were in front of me and I need to tell them, hey, you guys are going to need to have some guidelines or a way for some areas of your life that I don't think you may realize. So answer these questions first. And I would be like, how are you going to handle your finances? Mm-hmm. What does that look like? How are we going to handle division of labor? Because people may have very different thoughts. You never saw your grandfather wash dishes. In fact, your grandfather would threaten to whip you if you were in the kitchen about to wash dishes. And so that's woman's work. And he was from a different era, but he affected your...
Yeah, oh yeah.
He affected your paradigm.
But I adjusted because we had to wash dishes at mom's house.
Yeah. And then that adjustment, though, is kind of like saying, well, when I get married, either one or two things. This is my children or my wife. Because for me, because we had a very labor-intensive upbringing, my mom worked often 2 jobs. And even, when she was married and there was a husband in the house, she still worked. And so us as children, our job was to keep the house. I was the only girl. And there are big gaps. So sometimes it felt like you're the only child. If you got a 5-year difference here and a 7-year difference there. Yep. And so my thing was like, you may have been, when I get married, my wife's gonna clean the house. I'm not cleaning the house. I'll wash the car or I'll do this. But for me, it was like, as soon as they're old enough to reach the sink, we learn how to wash these dishes.
Yeah, I think
we're gonna clean our rooms. We're gonna learn how to, sweep and vacuum them out. So everybody comes into it, but I would tell them, how to have guidelines for your finances, have guidelines for the upkeep of the house, the division of labor in the house. Who's gonna make this house clean and keep it clean, and what does that look like? You need to have guidelines for, and I think this is the most important, like, hopefully you haven't made it to the decision of marriage and haven't discussed how are we going to serve. What do you believe in? Do you go to church? What church have you gone to? Do you believe in God? These are real questions in this day. Well, I want to say in this day and age.
Do you have a philosophy of I need to check your credit report? Come on, now that you're at this level, I think it's a valid question.
maybe not in the dating stage, because if you're observant, I think I know some people can hide it well and put on, and not show anything. But if you're to the point where you've decided to spend the rest of your life with each other, I think there are some things that you can know. And if you've seen them, people call them red flags. If you've seen them move in a way out in the world where you've never seen them budget, or if they live apart, I didn't know this because you live with your mom, but if you came to my house and my lights were off, or there was never any food in my house, or my car was constantly out of gas, for whatever it would say, either she don't have enough, or she's mismanaging what she have, or both. You know what I'm saying? And if you are seeing a person just spend, we going here, we're going there, instead of thinking, oh, they're just a baller, at some point you should have those conversations. That's why I'm saying they were in front of me, about to get married. You need to discuss finance. How do you handle your finance? And I think credit score, credit worthiness, and if you're gonna can I buy a house with you? Well, can we go get if we need a car? Could we go get a car?
Well, I heard a man.
Can we take vacation? You need to know those things.
I heard recently on a podcast. I heard a guy say, when you look at marriage in earlier years, you didn't marry for love alone. There was other aspects.
Oh, there are premeditations. There are.
Well, I'm asking, are some of those things good? I'm just saying, are some of those things
to marry for love alone? I would say
no. I'm saying to marry for not just love alone.
Oh, yeah, I would not marry for just love alone. For one big reason. Forget whatever else you're marrying for. But if you marry for love alone, what happens when you don't love that person? When you don't love them as much, or when you don't love them at all? And now you're in. But see, that goes to understanding or really believing in covenant and believing. Do people marry for life anymore, or do they marry for, let's see, we're gonna try this out. We're gonna give it 2 good years, and see where we.
I think that's where it is.
So I think our target audience. I think this is helping to define who our target are. Our target audience would be people who are considering married, newly married, or in a marriage that could be that they may need some work or some help, or maybe you are at a place of maturity in marriage and you have seen some success and can be a part of the community to kind of step in and help the other 3 groups. But they're Christian. They want to please God with their life and therefore with their marriage. And so that will kind of, I don't see, although everybody is welcome, I don't see someone looking at our content who is agnostic or an atheist or don't believe in God and then listen to us say God is the center of it all and feel like they will be helped. Now, we can help you, but first we're going to have to lead you into the sinner's prayer and bring you into the fold. But I think that our audience are those people who are looking for this particular help or this particular information or example of marriage and to find out what it is. And when you come to that decision and you didn't marry for just love, you need to define. And most people, they have some selfish reasons behind it. Can I say why I think? I know you said you don't want to be told what to do, but I also think.
I think everyone has
some selfish reasons for wanting to get married.
I believe everybody.
Yeah, I didn't want to do it alone. I didn't want to be alone. And it didn't have anything. It wasn't just that I was a parent, and because the kid part at that time was easy because they were young. They didn't. I mean, they didn't become what they are.
Yeah, but go ahead and tell me why you think I was ready to get married.
Huh?
I like this.
You like to hear it?
Well,
I agree with you that you were ready to not be governed.
That's a better word. I was ready not to be governed by my parents.
Not knowing that life was going to govern you.
I like that. Mm-hmm. Not knowing
that life was going to govern you.
With that, not knowing you're going to leave this government. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now we have this government, and this government over here. Your parents are a little bit more lenient toward you that you don't really know. But when you get over here in this government, it is a matter of fact. I need this on the first.
And if you don't give it to us on the first, you're going to be without this on the second. Whether it's your car, your lights, your water, your furniture.
Good point. I think you articulated that very better than what I articulated.
Well, besides not wanting to be governed anymore, I thought it was the physical. I thought that because sex. I thought because you lived in your parents' house.
Yeah,
and they had rules about when you still had to come home. And
premarital sex was not. That was not a part of the agenda.
And at 19, and you found the one. It was, And I thought that in your mind, I thought it was like, okay, it's just living in booty at this point. Like, anytime.
We gotta. I'm gonna have to articulate. We're gonna keep it premarital.
Premarital. I
can't say booty. We are not gonna.
Relations.
Relations.
Who's gonna know what that means? Okay, so
I'm gonna need you to pull out Prophet Google and say, what are relations between a man and a woman?
And Google gonna say, "Oh, they smashed it." So, I think that was it. He's like, "Look, she got food in the house. She got furniture in a bed. You know, she had a little TV in there. It's gonna be okay. I'm gonna pay on it. I'm gonna help out. She already, I don't have to get too much. She already paying for it, so I'm gonna cover my part, and then
Yeah.
it's gonna be all good." Uh, I think this is a very long-winded way of just saying that considerations need to happen before you get married, and the takeaway for me is that you don't know what you don't know. So
Right.
if you're wanting to get married, talk to credible Christian counselors. Now, they don't have to be an official counselor, but someone who can give you the real in a practical way that you understand and let you know, hey, you guys may want to look at a few things and decide a few things before that first, that day one of marriage. Because once you're married, if you're truly marrying for life, once it's done, it's done. And now you have to wait for, you have to mature, take responsibility. That's not easy. You have to wait for the other person to take responsibility and work on themselves and decide to mature in an area. And if you're in that season where because marriage ebbs and flows, if you hit that season where you kind of fall out of love and rethink it, and you haven't really fortified anything to hold you together other than, oh, I love you, oh, you love me, then I think the breakdown will start to happen. The enemy can come in and drive a wedge, because wherever you're weak as an individual, that is where the devil will, just start poking you, poking you, poking you, poking you there. So wherever you're weak as a couple, that is where he's gonna go, oh, I see. He don't trust her. Ah, let me get right there and just poke that distrust in every little thing. What you wearing lip gloss for? You had that lip gloss on yesterday. Just simple little things. Where's the money? You said you was gonna spend $100 and you spent 105. What the other $5 with? What did you do? Just little things like that. Or she thinks that he don't help her around the house or something like that, and it will show up in other ways. I'm always doing, and so you just need to sit down. This the point of this whole chat today, I think, is if you are considering marriage, or if you're in a marriage where things are not working, you need guidance. And we suggest guidance that is scripturally, biblically based and rooted in Christ and the principles of the Word of God. And it wouldn't hurt to get counsel individually and most definitely together, because there may be some things that you just need to work out. You just might be the problem. And I say that because every time I have gone to God about Levi, I was going to say more often than not, but I think every single time He has shown me first. And so, yeah. Anything else, sir, about misguided expectations for marriage? Do you agree that people should get marital counseling before getting married?
Yes, I agree.
And have some type of mentorship and someone to give them
some type of coach, some type of something, and make sure they make sure it ain't your best friend.
Oh yeah, you gotta.
Please.
The Bible says it will be like the blind leading the blind. You both don't end up in a ditch. So yeah, I think it's important that you don't just go to your best friend who is not even married or who's married, and that you need a proper example. I will be prayerful, and the hope is that when you do marry, you marry for life, and you work through as much as you can going into it. But even with the counseling is good, and I stand firm on that you need some type of guidance prior to getting married. But even after you get married, there needs to be some ongoing work on it.
Oh yeah, you got to
yeah. Because like I said last week, people change. Every 5 to 10 years, your spouse may be a totally different person. The environment, the exposure,
they're going to change. They're going to change.
Physical.
They're going to change.
Yeah, and so are you.
Yeah.
So
as you learn, you change. So.
Well, I think that's it for today.
All right.
No final. Just a goodbye. The final words.
No, I think we gave him a lot of words. I say do what it takes to win in marriage. Do what it takes to win, because it's not when you really want to change is not automatic. It's going to take some effort on your part. And the Bible, when Jesus was describing change, he said you got to cut your foot off, pluck your eye out, because when you're wanting to change behavior so that you can achieve a goal, it's not always easy to change. That's why I know that's why I avoided it. Let me say that.
Oh no, change can be painful,
Oh yeah, painful.
but necessary and worth it.
But it can be rewarding because
It
it can be
on the other side of that.
Yeah.
On the other side of changing, you can find fulfillment, you can find growth, and
Yes.
just better.
Amen.
All right, that is it. I think I'll close like I close all of my videos.
Yeah. I think I sense in the spirit what you're about to say. Let me see if I sense it right. Go ahead.
I love you with the love of the Lord.
And it's
Nothing you can do about it.
yeah, that